Now, there are a bunch of conversation topics that we can dive into in regards to the Vancouver Canucks. We can talk about the names that in which the Canucks have been linked to in trades. We can talk about the guys on the team that are already in more trade discussions, like Carson Soucy's name, as we had mentioned earlier in today's show. We can talk about the roster updates because, hey, guess what? Quinn Hughes is not going to play tonight against Nathan MacKinnon, Cale Makar, and everybody else on the Colorado Avalanche. But I wanted to go over to the Canucks subreddit and read a particular comment thread that dives into a certain idea and thought process in regards to the top guy on the team, Elias Pettersson. Now, the reason we are using this post and this comment thread goes as follows, is because this post by Seconds Out 55 posted an all-time JT Miller moment, which was Miller suiting up with the Arty Party really ugly shirt during yesteryear's practice in the Nashville series. This, of course, was a super important moment in Canucks lore. We have the PNG image of JT with the shirt on, and it was a really big moment because Artur Shilovs was this rookie being tasked to play in the Stanley Cup Playoffs because both Demko and DeSmith were hurt, and JT did this as sort of a, okay, we gotta welcome this guy onto the team somehow, we gotta make him feel comfortable kind of move, putting on his ugly shirt and wearing it around practice. This, of course, all-time JT Miller moment, I won't disagree with that in the slightest. The guy had a 100-point season, he was wearing funny shirts, and everybody was loving it because the Canucks were winning. They won both of their games in Nashville in Games 3 and 4, before eventually losing Game 5 in Vancouver and then winning Game 6 on the road once more. Anyways, the comments go out there and talk about some pretty particular stuff about JT Miller and this moment. You know how things were bad when this side of JT disappeared? How effective it would have been to silence the noise if him and Petey came out and did some sort of fun shenanigans to lighten the mood. Look at how effective Brad Marchand and David Pastrnak were at shutting down their supposed rift. These guys in Vancouver obviously couldn't stand each other if they couldn't even fake a public appearance together. And this, I think, is one of the more constant thoughts that I'm always thinking about too. JT seemed to be having fun last season. He was doing all this crazy stuff, he was scoring all these points. This season, he already came into the year saying that he doesn't really want to focus too much on points. He might produce at a lesser rate than he had last season, but he wanted to play better defensive hockey. Unfortunately, we didn't really see that out of him, to be completely honest, but he also was a lot more serious and a lot less of this. A lot less funny, it seemed. Now, of course, I am not in the room. I am not a Vancouver Canucks hockey player. I don't talk to these guys. I don't know these guys personally, but just based off of the vibes, the team was losing, guys weren't producing as many points, JT didn't look like he was having as much fun as he did in this moment, and the rift with Elias Pettersson was taking over the media. So let's continue on to this conversation, because I know the title and the thumbnail is all about Elias Pettersson. Where does Pettersson play into it? Well, let's go over to the other comments. Of course, the overarching thought is it would have been effective to shut down all the noise if him and Petey came out and did some sort of fun shenanigan to lighten the mood. I'm sure Miller would have, but I don't think Pettersson's got that nature in him. Remember he joked about bringing Petey out for the interview? I get the sense the communication breakdown is more on Petey's side. Tocchet has pretty much made that clear. He's had quotes like, at least when JT's having a bad game, you can have a discussion with him, and he's the guy that still comes to the coaches and asks for help. Not exact quotes. It really just seems like Elias Pettersson can't take tough love from coaches, management, players, and even when fans and media criticize him, it really gets under his skin. He may quite literally need to go somewhere like Buffalo, where it doesn't matter. You can see his petulance when he was asked about it. Rolls his eyes, not this crap again, really? I'm out of here. I'm getting the sense that he's built a bit like a toxic girlfriend, and it may be contributing to our consistency issues. You never know what mood Pettersson is in, or what's wrong today, or why he's cold now, etc., and it's just kind of a state of constant emotional terrorism. hyper skilled and a beautiful top-tier joy when he's happy and thriving, but the down periods, he circles the drain and brings everyone else down too. People like this can be very valuable and talented, but exhausting to be around. This also lends to the quote-unquote quiet quitting vibe I've had from him. It's like he's doing exactly what the coach is asking out of spite. Short shifts, checking, focusing on defense and not offense, etc. I could be totally wrong, of course. I've never talked to him in my life. If he can be happy and lock in, I rescind all criticisms and will bow down to his image. And I will also say the same thing here. This is me talking, Lego Rocks 99, not reading the Reddit comment, but I will also bow down to Elias Pettersson's image. The Church of Pettersson is still going strong. If he is able to be a 100-point caliber guy again. He hasn't been that for over a year now. One of the replies says, yeah, they kind of had him with the, remember when you tried saying the media was making all this crap up? You could watch him mentally turtle in the moment and his voice just kind of disappeared. Another reply says, I don't really think he's quiet quitting by playing good defense. He just isn't really good at offense right now. On that note, he had good offensive chances these last 2 games, just no finish. His setups also had no finish. I cannot believe he would deliberately miss the net or have Besser miss the net out of spite. And that also is true as well. PD is on a 2-on-1 in overtime with Brock Besser. It's not like he missed the net on purpose to send a message to Rick Tocchet or to kind of bounce back or lash out in anger. No, he's not missing the net because of that. He just missed the net. But I do think it is interesting how there are people talking about this sort of point, and there are enough folks on the Canucks sub that agreed with this idea as well. 31 upvotes, 34 upvotes. Other people are saying, oh, he's a prima donna, he's got tendonitis that will never heal. I don't want to discredit the tendonitis angle as well, because it's obvious that that injury and the recovery period has taken a toll on the way he's able to move and how he's able to contribute. But I do think that these sort of personality things about Pettersson are interesting enough to dive into, especially when you consider the presence that JT Miller had in the Canucks room. We had heard from a whole bunch of players and personalities that Miller has a really strong, overarching hold on the room, and that has always been a major part of what makes him such a leader on the team. But Elias Pettersson doesn't really have that. He doesn't have that sort of control in the room, and he doesn't have that dominant assertion. It's not really in PD's nature, maybe to do something funny to lighten the mood. Tocchet pretty much made that clear. When JT's having a bad game, you can talk to him. But PD seems like he can't really take tough love from anybody, really, and it gets under his skin. Maybe the Vancouver media environment is a little bit too much for him, and you can see in some of the other replies that he gets. I mean, he's rolling his eyes, he's not really taking accountability of certain things, and sure, he'll take accountability of his own play. Oh, I gotta be better, and this and that, and he's hard on himself for sure, but when it comes to some of the bigger issues that are outside of just him, there are many moments like this. Petulance is a good way to describe it. The quality of being childishly sulky or bad-tempered. And so for this quiet quitting vibe that some folks are saying they've gotten from Elias Pettersson, I want you to let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. Do you think that's an accurate way to describe not necessarily anything concrete, but just sort of the vibes about this situation? Are you getting that sort of a vibe from Elias Pettersson, that he might have been in this spot mentally of quiet quitting for a while now, and whether or not this Miller feud with Pettersson really took a toll on him in both the way he plays and the way he interacts with the media? I want you to let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. I get that this topic is not really a fun one to talk about, but I do think it's worth noting either way. What do you think? Let me know in the comment section below. I hope you enjoyed this video. 99, and bye.